at the shelf. Okay, perfect.
All right. I'll press myself.
All right, here, do you want
Do you
this?
want my laptop?
Nope. I'll just need this.
Do we need this thing? Yeah.
We may.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm a failure, but
Just squeeze
there's
it
a
up.
lot.
No, you're not. No, you're
Hey,
not.
Say 5 nice things about yourself.
Yeah, you're not a
I would
failure.
just set it right here, and then we'll be all right here.
Okay.
And then it's fine. So, yep.
No, it's
Just
not
set it
fun.
up right
You've heard
here,
about
and then
this
we'll just display and not use.
Love yourself like your life depends on it.
Yeah, love yourself like your life depends upon it.
I will do what I can.
All right.
I'll send you
We
the. I'll
haven't
send you the.
read it.
I haven't read it, but my friend.
Patty, do you want to sit on that side? I'll sit by Jess with Omar. Sure. We're just going to all be facing down there. Okay.
All right.
All right, yeah. Just
Love yourself.
Good evening, everyone. We're super excited today to be doing our first live podcast at one of our most favorite organic gluten-free restaurants in the state of Utah. It's a little hidden gem called Rawtopia, and we are here this evening with the owner, Omar. So, welcome to the Wellness Crusaders podcast this evening.
Welcome, welcome. We are so excited to be here. This is one of my favorite restaurants. I just crave it all the time. There's days I drive like an hour just to get here.
For sure.
So grateful to be here with you, Omar.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so nice. Thank you so much for having me on your
So-
podcast.
Oh, we're excited. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to talk a little bit about the menu once we're done. We're going to take a spin through the kitchen. We'll talk about some of our own favorite products. And more importantly, we know that the food being served at your average show restaurant is toxic. It's full of gluten, it's full of herbicides, it's full of pesticides. None of that which you will find here at Rawtopia. It's one of only 3 restaurants that I ever feel safe at eating in the entire state of Utah. So let's go ahead and get started. Omar, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'd like to let our audience know a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely.
So, what inspired you to open a gluten-free organic restaurant, and how do you ensure the integrity of your ingredients?
Well, Earth inspires me. I feel like I'm a steward of Mother Earth. And shall I be looking at you or shall I look at the camera?
We'll look at the camera. It's live, so I
Okay.
don't think there's a right or
So
wrong.
I feel like I'm inspired by Mother Earth. I think she comes first. The environment is extremely important to me. The soil ecology is super important to me. And the way our agricultural practices are not healthy to the soil ecology, and it's creating a lot of toxicity in the soil, which is actually devastating a lot of the animals that are in the soil, the animals that are around the soil, the water that comes out of the soil, and goes all through the rivers and streams, and it goes into the ocean, and it is killing a lot of coral reefs are dying, which feed the small fish that feed the big fish. I mean, it's a whole biodiversity thing. And I'm inspired by nature, and I'm inspired by something that thrives, something that helps nature thrive. And so I decided to open Rawtopia because I believe in a clean environment, and I believe in supporting the farmers that grow organically, sustainably, regeneratively, in order to sustain the planet and the future generations to come. So, in saying all that, the second question within the first question that you have is also how do I source my
Ensure the
ingredients?
integrity of your ingredients. But
And-
before you go there, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh,
Where are you from? How did you get to where you are now? Tell
uh,
us.
so I am Omar Abu Ismail. I grew up in West Africa, Nigeria, and I'm originally from Lebanon, Lebanese. My parents are both Lebanese. We come from a Druze tribe in Lebanon, and we have lived in West Africa pretty much my whole life until I was 12 years old, and from the age of 12 to 17, I was in Lebanon during the winter months so I can study the language and study the culture after the war in Lebanon. Unfortunately, there's war right now happening again. But in the summers, we'd always go back to Nigeria. And then at the age of 17, I begged my father to send me to America so that I can continue my education because I felt like Lebanon was not very progressive. And I felt like Nigeria was also not doing very good, and I needed opportunity. I knew I was destined for something greater than being put in those countries, and so my father agreed with me, and he basically, my grandma lived in Utah, and my aunt, and my grandma also grew up in, like, her whole life after she got married from Lebanon, moved to at the age of 18 to Ghana, West Africa. So my mom was born in Ghana, West Africa. She met my dad in Ghana. Then they moved to Nigeria, and that's how you know. Anyway, it's a big story, but I'm keeping it short right now.
Were you 12 years old when you moved to America?
No, I was 17.
17.
I
Okay.
was 17 years old. We came to America, me, my mom, and my brother and sister. We came to Utah, and I finished my senior year of high school in America, and then I went to college, and I went to the University of Utah, and I studied geophysics because I was, as you know, I love the Earth, and I want to know the history of the Earth. And so I studied geophysics, and really what I wanted to do was work in oil fields in Saudi Arabia.
Oh my
Because I
goodness.
speak Arabic, and I thought that like geophysicists are needed. Like there was only 4 people in my graduation class.
Well, thank God you didn't.
Well, and so basically that's what I worked in geophysics for like 3 or 2 years, I would say. And then I started learning a lot about nutrition and health. And I remember I read some books by called The Food Revolution by John Robbins,
Yes,
I think.
yes, I love that. Love him.
And it kind of brought a lot of awareness to the food industry. And then I remember my dad at the same time, as I was progressing with my health and nutrition, and I changed my diet. I started eating very clean and all organic and only organic. I started cutting out all kinds of things from my diet and eating whole foods. And I was eating whole foods. And so at the same time, my dad had cancer. And I was devastated by that. He was in Nigeria. And so he basically went to Lebanon. My mom had to go to Lebanon. And like the project that I was working on in geophysics ended. I was working on the Kaolavi Island Reserve in Maui with the Parsons Corporation and the Army Corps of Engineers. And after the project ended, I moved back to Utah to take care of the bills for my mom while she went to Lebanon. And it was then I realized that I really needed to figure out if I stayed in my career or what's my next step and move, or should I go back and get my master's in geophysics? And then my dad came from Lebanon to America, and that's all in 2004. And I remember watching my dad as he had cancer and how sick he was, and it really devastated me. And I also was working in a restaurant as a server, just to make money because there's no geophysics jobs in Utah. And I found it horrifying, to be quite honest with you, how people eat and all the French fries and all the deep fried food and all the toxicity that goes into the food, all the seed oils, or it's pretty bad. And I have a lot of awareness now about what's going on in the food industry and the agricultural industry. And I mean, this is all food science, is what the food industry is doing, which is scientifically manipulating chemicals in order for us when we eat them so we can get addicted to them. And it's in all the junk food, the candy bars, the fast food places, so everything. And so I decided after my dad, of course, the cancer was spread all over his body. It was hard, and he didn't really know much about health and nutrition, and he didn't really want to know about health and nutrition. It wasn't his consciousness level, I guess I would say. So he passed away in December of 2004, and of course I was devastated. And I had to stay with my mom and brother. My brother was kind of struggling at the time. And so I decided, and in Lebanon, we're a family unit, and the eldest child basically takes control. I become the father of the family, So I had to stay in Utah. And of course, my passion was making food. My mom is the head chef at a restaurant, so she's also a great chef. And so I decided that I wanted to open a restaurant. To support the organic agricultural business, and I wanted to create food that was healthy, and I wanted to create a safe place for people that were seeking healthy food to be able to come and enjoy a healthy meal. And that's how it all started.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And you mentioned Food Revolution, so I'm a big fan of Food Revolution.
Yeah.
I myself follow Ocean Robbins.
Okay.
And his dad was actually his father,
The owner
owned
of
Baskin
Baskin-Robbins,
Robbins.
yeah.
And because even that ice cream, he knew it was not
Toxic.
good for the body. He walked away from a multi-million-dollar business and didn't really want any part of Baskin Robbins. I love your story. It's very inspiring. I know Patty wants to ask the next question.
Okay.
So
Well,
here
did
you
we
go.
go? Did I?
Oh,
so
yeah,
did I
yeah,
answer the-
that's right.
Oh, no.
All right. The second part of that question is how
Yes.
do you ensure
The integrity,
the
of the
integrity
food.
of your ingredients? Because we all know that the FDA allows the one ingredient, maltodextrin, which is really just a hidden gluten, which even you find on a lot of the certified gluten products out there.
Yeah.
So how do you ensure the integrity for all of your patrons, all of your customers who eat here on a regular basis, and the people that are just getting to know your restaurant?
Well, I mean, I do not serve any processed foods here. I support farmers that, for example, we use buckwheat here. I'm a big proponent of buckwheat because it's a very sustainable crop. And we sprout the buckwheat before we use it. Everything here we sprout before we use it.
And
I use a lot of.
for our listeners who don't understand what sprouted mean, what does that mean?
Well, sprouting is a miraculous process of life itself. When you put water in a seed or a nut or or a legume or whatever you want, like a seed, when you put water in it, it drinks the water and it builds the potential energy in order to grow into a plant. And that process increases the nutrients by 600%. So, and it releases a lot of the lectins and the phytonutrients, there's enzymes protecting the seed from other insects, invading insects to eat it, right? And so these enzymes basically break up, and so it becomes more assimilated and digested in our system. So that's kind of why the importance of sprouting is. And
I like your
even in Iran and in Lebanon and the Middle East and Turkey, they always soak their nuts and seeds before they use them. They always soak their rice, they always soak their beans, their lentils, and they always, in Lebanon, they actually sprout a lot. And they're like tabbouleh, for example, is a famous Lebanese dish. Now, sometimes they use bulgur wheat, but some people don't use bulgur wheat. They use sprouted lentils. Some people use sprouted quinoa. Some people use hemp seeds like I do. So it's all different. So basically, so I talk to the farmers. I make sure they're grown in North America because I don't want anything from other countries. I want to be sustainable. That's kind of another aspect of my business is sustainability. So I want to get food from that is growing around me as much as I can before I go into other countries. You know what I'm saying? Now cashews, unfortunately, I have to get from Thailand or from Philippines or wherever they grow cashews at. But I use macadamia nuts that comes from Hawaii, from a beautiful farm that I know the people that have that farm, and I work very closely with these people that source all of these farmers in North America to give me the beans, my lentils, my wild rice, things like that. So I'm very I have a very beautiful connection with the people that are selling the products that they sell, and I want to support them because they are supporting agricultural practices that are organically grown and even beyond regeneratively grown.
Yeah. And I have seen you at the farmers market.
Yeah, so I go a lot. I go to farmers market a lot, and I harvest. I mean, I get a lot of my fruits. I mean, I also have a garden. I have a big garden. I grow a lot of my herbs. I grow tomatoes. I grow cucumbers, peppers. I grow a lot of things. And unfortunately, it's winter. Sometimes when it's winter here, I can't grow things. But I mean, I don't have a greenhouse. I wish, but I am so busy in the restaurant. If I was a farmer, I'd do it. But I try to source everything locally that I can in the months of the summertime, and I grow a lot of it myself. And I actually go to the farmers market that are around me every we have Saturday and Sunday, and I get a lot of food. I mean, my car is packed with food. I support the farmers. These are the small people that I actually think are the most important people to be supported because this is their passion. They make pennies. They don't. They some of them don't even have jobs in the winter time. They're dedicated to their gardens, and I say we really have to support them because the way they grow food, they're taking care of the soil. They're the topsoil. I mean, I don't know if anyone knows this, but when you spray glyphosates on crop and you use larvicides, insecticides, pesticides, fungicides, I mean, these all contaminate the topsoil and it destroys it. It takes Mother Nature over 2,000 to 10,000 years to make an inch of topsoil. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I like to support my farmers is because they really take the time to do their compost, their dried leaves. They do the effort to keep the soil nutrient dense so the produce that comes out of that is nutrient dense as well. And no one talks about that.
Yeah,
No.
and you know what? We
The
do
soil
talk about it.
ecology.
That's why we look at our children being sick because there aren't really a lot of nutrients in the food that is being grown nowadays.
Absolutely.
They're being killed off by Roundup, 2,4-D,
Absolutely.
glyphosate, glufosinate. We
Absolutely.
need it.
And
And
this is
then
a problem. I mean, I
It's a
think
huge problem.
and sometimes I really am surprised. I feel like it doesn't like a lot of people are not very concerned. You know, like when I go to Costco, for example, I like to get my organic berries from there. And I look at all these people and they're all buying these inorganic berries when they know, I mean, I think it's pretty much out
Yeah.
that berries are very sprayed.
Yes.
So why are you getting the inorganic berries and not the organic berries? So it baffles
Because
me.
it's price. It's the price.
It's cheaper.
Yeah.
It's also lack of education. People don't know. This is part of why we're doing this.
And one of the things too, you know, that listeners need to know is that you kind of eat your fruit in season. So
Yes.
we all love a strawberry, but we know that organic strawberries are more expensive
Yes.
in certain times of the season. But that's when you kind of flip over to maybe an apple
Yeah.
or a banana. Right?
Well,
Probably-
I personally think that eating, like you bring this up, now that you bring this up, apples, even if they're organic, they're waxed.
right.
And they're injected with stuff so that they can have a long shelf life. So I do not recommend apples at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And if you do get apples, you need to peel the skin. You know what I'm saying?
Unless you have
And-
apple trees. I have apple
Yes,
trees.
if you have apple trees, that's
Yeah.
great because that's kind of what I do. Is that like I harvest all my apples, and if I can't eat them all, I dry them so I can have my healthy snacks during the winter time.
Right.
And like in the winter time, I focus more on pomegranate. I focus more on persimmons. I focus more on the things that are growing in that. You know,
Right.
because we're by California, so we can get pomegranate and persimmons in the winter time,
Right.
and then oranges. You know, so I try to. I only eat fruit that is grown or fruits that are basically in season
Right.
because of the fact that a lot of times when these fruits are being harvested and then they're injected and waxed so
Right.
that they can stay all winter long. I
Right.
think you know what I'm saying? So I have a big issue with that, and like also like watermelon and grapes. Or everyone loves watermelon and grapes.
But where's the seeds?
But
at?
there's no
Why don't they
seeds
have
in them.
seeds in them?
Like I'm from Lebanon, and every single grape had seeds in it. So we're not used to having grapes without seeds. So
Well,
I'm very
watermelon without
surprised.
seeds.
And watermelon without seeds. I mean, and also the seeds in watermelon help with parasites, cleanses. It helps with protein.
Yep.
It helps balance the sugars of the watermelon. I mean, nature is so perfect, and I can't believe how much we're manipulating nature.
Oh, it's being destroyed by all of the pesticides and herbicides.
It's
that
very
are
sad,
being
and then anyway.
But there are options. We're here for solutions. Looking at
solutions, absolutely.
Yeah,
looking at the
Solutions.
solutions.
And as you keep talking about nature and about our food sources and our food supply and the food that we're eating, and we are nature. We
Yeah,
are
of
part
course,
of that nature.
that's right.
So
Everything you see, your body is Mother Earth. You know, there's a Native American saying, and I love that saying. I always say it all the time to everyone. Every time I'm interviewed, I always say, "Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit."
Ooh,
Yes, we are Mother Earth, and if Mother Earth is sick, we're sick. We are a reflection of Mother Earth.
Right.
So we really were stewards of this planet.
Indeed.
Like this planet is God's creation.
Mm.
And if we don't take care of it, why are we here? Why did God put us here? And if we can't take care of his creation, then how are we expected to be happy in heaven or even go to heaven?
Or even make it another 200 years.
Yeah, if we can't take care of what we have now, which is so heavenly and beautiful and precious. I mean, have you ever gone to a waterfall in a mountain and seen clear water and bathed in it and felt the birds and the hummingbirds and the dragonflies flying everywhere? I mean, we live in a magical earth. It's a beautiful place, and our responsibility is to be stewards of this planet and to protect it. And for the future generations to come, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
We have to start creating solutions for our trash, for our agricultural practices, for renewable energy, technologies. I mean, we really owe this time for the future generations, and that's what our ancestors did. They kept this place clean for us so that we can be here and live in it. But what are we doing now to sustain this planet for the future generations to come? And I feel like it's my responsibility to make sure that the future generation has a place
Come and eat.
to be, yes, to enjoy.
So,
Yes.
so with that, I just want to say thank you for having this restaurant. And I think we were here last week, or must have been the week before, and there was a woman walking by, and we just started chatting, and she said, "I can come." I don't know if she chatted with
Yeah,
you.
she did. I saw
Yeah,
that.
she was like, "This is the one place I can come and eat," and she has a lot of different health conditions because the food is clean. So yes, it makes such a huge difference to go to a place if you're eating out at a restaurant, making sure what you're eating, and then of course going back to your home like you talked about, and also supporting the farmers in farmers market. When you were talking about the farmers market, we go to the farmers market too. And my partner goes to this one person's stand. We have so many shallots and onions right now
I think
that
it's
are like,
Kevin. Is it
yeah,
Kevin?
it's Kevin, and I'm like,
Kevin.
we don't need, but we're supporting him. So that's part of what you said too. We're supporting him,
I support Kevin
and those
too.
last shallots, onions,
Yeah.
squashes, those can last all winter. But I wanted to also say that yes, this is one of the places I eat at. I don't eat out very much. Because I cook a lot, and we're hoping more people are going to get into their kitchens as well too. But if
Absolutely.
you are eating out, know where you're eating and support the people that are doing what Omar is doing here. And one of the things I wanted to ask, and I hope you can share about, is you bringing in salmon and bison into this restaurant, because that was a big thing for me. And we talk a lot through the Wellness Crusaders about eating adequate protein.
Yes.
And vegetables are wonderful, but
Yes.
sometimes we need adequate protein.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about that to our
Absolutely,
listeners?
absolutely. I think this is a huge important subject. There's a lot of misunderstanding about health in general, where vegans think that they're the healthy ones, where other paleo people think they're the healthy ones. I mean, there's so many different diets, Whole30, raw food diet. There's all kinds of diets. Now, I started at a raw food diet. I remember thinking raw food was the answer to all illnesses, the cure for everything. And then my restaurant actually was raw vegan. So we didn't cook food.
I remember those
You know what I'm
days.
saying?
Mhm.
And I was in business for 12 years. Now, when I moved here, I like got this bigger place, and I evolved. I learned. I grow. I'm all about sustainability. Now, I love animals, and of course, no one wants to see animals die. Now, but what you have to realize is, like, are you gonna call a lion a sinner because it's hungry, and then all of a sudden it needs to eat the deer? And the deer is innocent and pure and just minding its own business and eating. How do you explain that, for example? So I think there's a lot of confusion about the way Mother Earth works. Her language is different than our language.
Yes.
And I believe that if you live in colder climate areas, you actually do need to partake of the resources that you have around you, because let's say you did not have the truckloads of wheat and beans and your vegan products coming into town. Let's say you didn't have that. How are you going to live? How Americans live when they lived here 10,000 years ago? That we know that people who inhabited this place, they didn't have truckloads of things coming from China and from Mexico. They basically had their agricultural system done, and they, just like Lebanese people, just like any indigenous people that live sustainably, they grow a lot of their food in the summertime, they harvest a lot of things, and they dry things, and they utilize everything that is the abundance of the summertime that grows to sustain them in the winter times. Now, in the winter times, what do? They hunt. And hunting is a big part of our human nature. That's how we were able to survive in colder climates. And so hunting is a beautiful practice that has done, people are very, when they kill the animal, they pray over the animal, and they use every part of the animal, and we are also going to die and give our lives back to the earth and to the worms. So life is a circle of life. You know what I'm saying? And that is why I decided it is very important to eat animal protein sometimes, because you do need the amino acids. You need that protein. We humans thrive on protein the most.
Exactly.
I mean, yes, there's proteins. By the way, there's proteins in vegetables. There's proteins in sprouted nuts and seeds. There's proteins in hemp seeds. There's protein in everything. You see what I'm saying? And if you break down protein, it's really enzymes. Enzymes, I mean, it's amino acids plus amino acids, but you break down amino acids, it's enzymes. And that's why I like a lot of living foods, because I feel like there's a lot of enzyme-rich foods. It's very crucial for our bodies, and the way we assimilate these nutrients has to be in a broken down form into amino acids, into enzymes, so that it could be taken into our bloodstream. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, but that's why I feel like yes, we do need animal protein, but we also need to be diverse with our
Diversity,
diet.
like
I like
regardless.
diversity. Yeah,
Diversity.
like what's growing, what's in season. You know what I mean? And also, there are farmers that are raising cows and pigs and chicken and you know what I mean? And sometimes they have to, kill their animals to feed people and to feed themselves and their families, and you partake of that, and it's part of this is how our ancestors survived for a long time. So, and it's very sustainable. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so that's kind of.
Thank you for that. Oh, yes, perfect.
Kind of your,
I have a follow-up question before you ask your next
Go.
question.
Oh, I wanted to add to that though.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
go
Jess.
So, one of the things that I believe is that there are certain animals that came here with their sole purpose to give us life.
Sure.
Right. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I have to say that I'm not someone that I don't like to believe in anything. I kind of like to be. I don't like to know. I don't. It's not that I know I don't know much. I like life to me is a mystery. It's a great mystery. And so I feel like I like to be open to new information. To openness is the grounds to create. You know what I'm saying? And I always say, like, yes, like they're like I can come up with all kinds of things that psychologically to comfort myself, but I like to be more real and more indigenous and more I follow my intuition, and especially when it comes to food, and even when I make food and when I mix my spices, because I'm an alchemist. And so I feel like I really want to be present in the moment and do the things that I need to do that I feel is right. But do I believe in anything? I can't say I believe in anything, because I like to live life just openly and raw and authentically, and what do you call it? transparent.
Transparently.
You
Beautiful.
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So you were a vegan then.
Yes, I was.
So when you first started eating protein, because we three on the Wellness Crusaders believe that you have to feed your brain first, which consists of protein.
Absolutely.
So when you started eating protein, how do you think that your brain felt? Did you have clarity?
Let me say this. I came back down to earth.
Okay.
When I was raw vegan, I was pretty out there. And my dosha, I mean, I'm pretty, like, I have big hands and big feet.
Kapha?
I have
Yeah.
kapha.
Oh,
So I'm
kapha.
very grounded. So when I started eating meat, and first of all, when I was raw vegan, I lost a lot of weight. And I ate seaweed, I ate nuts and seeds, I ate a lot of vegetables, I made smoothies, I did a lot of chia seeds, I did a lot of flax seeds, I did everything. Everything you can think of. My raw food diet was full. And I had a restaurant, so I had all the food you can think of. I know I did a lot of fermented foods, I did it all. I was so thin. I had lost all my muscle. I went to the doctor when I thought I was the healthiest. I went to the doctor. I mean, I was vibrant, right? I went to the doctor, and I was deficient in everything.
Wow.
So when I started eating animal protein, you know what I mean? And maybe this is just me, and please don't hate on me. Like, that's just my experience. I plumped up. My muscle came back. I mean, listen, the proof of this that I'm saying right now is I have a massage therapist, and he used to massage me back in the day when I was raw vegan. And then I lost touch with him, and then all of a sudden I found him again, and I was like, hey, I need you to massage me. You're one of the best massagers. And so anyway, he started massaging me again after I started eating animal protein. Yeah, an omnivore. And of course, I was working out because I had the energy to work out, right?
Yeah.
Because before I was just doing yoga, and yoga was tough for me. Now I work out, like I really work out. And I remember he was massaging me, and he goes, oh my goodness, like how in the world you didn't even have a butt, no glutes. Now you have a full body and you're all muscle.
Wow.
And as he was massaging me, he was baffled by how much my body evolved so fast
Yeah.
just by eating and adding animal protein.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
Wow.
So
Beautiful.
All right,
Thank you
next
for that.
question, Jess.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a beautiful story, Omar. Thank you for sharing with all our listeners.
it's truth, I promise.
I mean, because so many people, there's so many people out there that don't eat the meat. So they don't get the amino acids. And then what happens when they don't get the amino acids? Because they're not eating protein first, they're not feeding their brain, they feel horrible. And then they end up with their doctor, and then they end up with a prescription because the doctor isn't talking about amino acids and feeding your brain protein. So it's so important that people know how important protein, because there's 9 essential amino acids your body does not make.
Right.
And you have to get it from meat. Or dietary supplements or both, but you have a product up there that I love, and it's one of my favorite protein shakes, and it's Sun Warrior.
Yeah. That's
And
my
if you
favorite.
look at the ingredients in Sun Warrior, you see all of the amino acids that our body and our brains need. So every time I come here, I'm always happy that you have that. It's like one of my go-to smoothie drinks, and it's my favorite. So I just wanted to say that because that's one of my favorite products. But
Okay, great.
go ahead, Jess.
Just let's finish it up.
Okay. So things have been getting challenging, especially with our food sources and
Yes.
prices.
Yes.
So what challenges have you faced in sourcing high quality ingredients, organic ingredients? And how have you kept your standards?
Well, this is so tough. I mean,
Yeah.
I find that my challenges is health people that have a lot of followers will maybe say, hey, this is the best salt. And then everyone goes and buys that salt. Well, it happens that I also use that salt. So when I call the company to get that salt, they're like, oh, we're out. We're out for a few months. These are the challenges I sometimes face. And then I'm constantly learning, because like you constantly learn because I like to research all my ingredients and to see if there's any heavy metals in them, to see if there's arsenic, to see if there's lead, to see if there's mercury. Like I'm very, very careful about that because I know there's a lot of toxins in our environment right now. And so I like to test all my ingredients and make sure it's always legit and it's always coming from a good source. Now, sometimes you have hurricanes all of a sudden that happen, and we use a lot of coconuts in my restaurant because I love coconuts. I think coconut is like mother's breast milk. And so we use a lot of the flesh of the coconut and the water. We blend it together. We don't use anything from a can. We don't use anything processed and pasteurized. We like to use fresh ingredients. So I open the young Thai coconut, I gut it out, and I blend it together, and that's how I make my cream base, which goes into my ice cream, into my desserts, and into my salsa.
Cheesecake.
Yes. So,
That good?
It's so good.
now, in saying all that, sometimes there's a hurricane that happens, and it wipes out a whole, field of coconuts, and then coconuts become scarce, and then they become extremely expensive. Things like that, macadamia nuts also get hit like with a hurricane or with something, and then all of a sudden we don't have macadamia nuts. So there's an ebb and flow of things. Almonds, there's shortage of almonds, and I don't get my almonds anymore from California, unfortunately, because it is all pasteurized. They pasteurize the nuts, and I do not like anything pasteurized. I believe in raw ingredients. I believe that raw ingredients have a life force energy in them, and if you pasteurize them, you kill that life force energy in them. We are living beings that we need living foods. We need foods that are active and real, and that's how we feed our light energy, is how I feel. And so I get my almonds, wild almonds from Spain and Italy.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to
Oh
source
my
it because
gosh.
it's not pasteurized.
Wow.
And it tastes so good, and when I soak them in water, they are so delicious, and they have so much more flavor than the almonds that come from California.
And I don't know of another single restaurant in Utah that imports from Spain or Italy on their almonds. So that's just another step that you're
And I
taking.
get it, like I'm all about sustainability, but sometimes I
Oh, I
have to
love it.
also care also about nutrients dense foods,
Yes.
and people come to Rawtopia because their health depends on it. They
Absolutely.
come because they made the choice. I know if I eat here, I'm going to feel nourished. And I can't tell you how many people I've seen. They come in here, and I'm not joking when I say this. I look into their eyes, and they're just kind of dull. But after they eat my food,
Yes.
I come back and visit them, and there's light in their eyes all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I've seen it over and over and over again. I've had this business for 19 years. You see what I'm saying? And unfortunately, like I still believe in raw foods and eating a lot of raw foods. I mean, I still believe in that. I have in my menu, that's why I kept the name Rawtopia, because a lot of, like even our bison, when we cook it, on top of it, I put like a raw cashew sauce that I use for the chipotle, for example.
Yeah.
And I make everything from scratch. And I sprout everything. And so everything is living. Even though I cook some things, but some things have enzymes in them still. So I'm very into that kind of way of making food. And I believe that when people come in here, I want them to get nourished, really.
Right.
Not just on a physical level, but on a soul level.
Yes.
Because this is soul food.
That's why you have
my mom is
repeat
also,
customers,
yes,
because they
exactly.
feel so much better
They
when
do.
they eat here.
They do.
I know I do
Yeah,
personally.
of course. Yeah.
So Omar,
So, yes.
what's your favorite? I'm going to ask everybody this. What's your favorite thing on the menu?
Well, listen, I have a few favorites, and my palate is very, very different than maybe your average American, because I mean, I like bitter foods. I don't like sugars. So my taste buds are very different. I'm Lebanese. I have Lebanese spices. I like, things like that.
Right.
So knowing that, my favorite thing really is the falafel burger. And the reason why I like the falafel burger is because we make our sprouted buckwheat bun, and it's sprouted buckwheat, carrots, apples, black caraway seeds, sesame seeds, we put a little psyllium husk in there so it has good flavor, and sprouted buckwheat, and we mash it all together, and we bake it for 5 minutes. And anyway, so
So
it's
good.
so delicious, I think. And so I put that, and then I put hummus, and my hummus is like sprouted hummus, and it's made from sprouted almonds and sprouted sunflower seeds and tahini and lemon juice and olive oil and garlic. And we juice our own lemons from scratch. We peel our own garlic. We don't get it all peeled up in a bag because that's always pasteurized when they do that. So everything here is made from scratch. Anyway, so I put the hummus on there, and then I take the sprouted I take sprouted almonds and the falafel crust, and now the falafel burger part. Now the falafel in Lebanon is made with fava beans and they deep fry it. Now, I don't do that. I use a lot of cilantro and parsley and all the falafel spices, and then I grind it with sprouted sunflower seeds and sprouted almonds, and then I dry it in the dehydrator to preserve all the nutrients so we don't cook it. And so it's really dense in nutrients. It's like so powerful. You know, some people, they take supplements. I mean, that's what supplements are made of. You know?
Yes, they are.
And I'm making my supplements myself, so I know my own ingredients, right? So I put that, and then I put a tomato and onion. We put pickles that we make in the house, and then mint and parsley and cilantro, and lettuce, and we have like this big falafel burger, and it's one of my favorite things. So I love that so much. Now, I also love my beanless tostada, and my beanless tostada, I call it beanless because I don't use beans in it, although we do have beans, fasulia. It's like a Lebanese dish with cooked beans, and sprout our beans. But this one, the reason why I say it's beanless is because it's better for digestion. I have a problem sometimes digesting beans, so even if it's sprouted. So what I do is I take the beanless part of the tostada is made from pumpkin seeds, and pumpkin seeds, I believe, is really, really high in zinc, and also high in proteins, and it's high, and it helps with parasites, and it's just so nourishing. And I get my pumpkin seeds actually from Austria because of the way it's grown. Like I don't get it, like a lot of the pumpkin seeds come from China. So I have a source that comes from Austria, so it's bigger and it's more flavor, and it's very, very authentic and amazing. Anyway, and so I grind that up, and I put tahini with it, and I put Mexican spices, and all my spices, I put whole spices, and I grind them myself. I make my own spices here, and I put bell peppers in it and cilantro, and I make this amazing. It tastes like refried beans, but it's made from pumpkin seeds and walnuts too. And I love walnuts, and this is all very good for the brain. You know?
Oh yeah, omega-3 walnuts.
Yes, and so I put that on the beanless, and the beanless part, or the tostada part, is made from sprouted buckwheat, apples, and flax seeds. It's very similar to the buckwheat bun I was talking about, but instead of baking it for 5 minutes, we dry it for 24 hours. And it's a bigger crust. And anyway, so I put that on there, and then I put avocado, tomato, I put onions, celery, bell peppers, tomatoes, basil pesto on it, and then we put our sour cream on top, and our sour cream is made from cashew and macadamia nut, chia seeds, and flax seeds, and so it's kind of like a sour cream, right? Anyways, I put that on there, and we put our chipotle sauce on top of that, and it's like this big, beautiful mountain
Of delicious.
of delicious. Like when it comes in a bed of
One of us
deep
has
leafy
to get
green
that.
vegetables, it comes in a bed of deep leafy vegetables. And now I want to say something. Can I? Sure. Listen, some people can't digest raw vegetables very good, and I get it. And it's legit. It's not like you don't have a problem. It's. I believe that sometimes you have to understand your genetic pool. And for example, I'm from the Middle East, so like a lot of like our vegetables come from the Middle East. Like the seed banks all come from the Middle East because. So I can digest all of that. You know, I can digest a lot of deep leafy green vegetables. I can digest parsley. I can digest a lot of greens. Now, some people that come from more northern countries, maybe they can't digest that much greens. So if some people, you have to listen to your body, and if sometimes certain things don't make you feel comfortable, don't make your gut feel good, honor that. And I'm not saying that, but I also invite you to consider that also a lot of times our gut is filled with so much uh, garbage. Can I say that?
Yes, of course. It
Garbage.
is.
And when you eat something like greens, it has a lot of fiber. And that fiber maybe reacts with the garbage because it's trying to sweep out the intestinal tract. Now remember, your intestinal tract is 12 times your length or 14 times your length. It's all jumbled in there. And the river of life flows through you. It comes through into your mouth, all the way to your stomach, goes through your intestines, and goes out through your anus. And this is the fact of life in the human body. So you want to make sure that your intestinal tract is moving. You do not want a swamp created in your gut. And a lot of the foods we're eating are not being digested properly, and not to mention all the toxicities that are in it. And they're sitting in our gut and giving into our blood all this toxicity. If you have pain in your body, if you have arthritis, if you have certain things, remember, what is your intestinal tract clean? Is it flowing? Is there a swamp in there? If there's a swamp, if you ever go to a swamp, it stinks, it's disgusting, there's weird things in it, and it's gross. Think about it. You do not want a swamp in your body because that's how death happens. You want your intestinal tract to keep on moving. So that's why I suggest eat high fiber foods, keep your gut flowing, and don't eat a lot of processed foods. Don't eat a lot of foods that are going to clog your gut up. And one of those foods that clogs the gut is wheat.
Right.
And our wheat is filled with glyphosates.
Yes, of
Right.
And
course.
you preach that all the time. I've heard you before talk about glyphosates and the nastiness of glyphosate. But
Yes.
it's real. And we're genetically modifying corn and wheat. And corn and wheat are the two things that we consume the most. And we eat, with every meal, we eat a lot, and it clogs our stomach. It clogs our stomach. So we need to
Flush the toilet
Flush the
free.
toilet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So
that's like
I
my few
don't-
cents here.
You know what? I love
I'm
the
getting
fact
hungry, so I
that
think we
you
should-
said that. But how many restaurants that you know of that you can go in and get so much education? Let alone, let's even take the healthy food out. It's the education that comes behind it and where he sources it.
Well, and the intention too.
Yes.
And the integrity
Yes.
of our food and what we stand
Yes.
for.
Yes.
Now, we're not perfect. We're trying our best. Sometimes I've had, and I don't want to say this, but unfortunately, I get a lot of my food from the farm, and sometimes the food is filled with insects, and we have to wash it triple times. But sometimes things get missed, right?
Well, it's just a little extra protein, right?
Well, I know, but my food is so fresh. That's what I wanted
Yeah.
to say.
Right.
It's not like a manicured McDonald's place where everything is, you know what I'm saying? Real people make it. So
Yes.
I say also this is real homemade food,
Yeah.
and we do our best to take care of everything.
Nice.
Make sure we wash everything, triple wash everything, and
The cleanliness
the
that
cleanliness
comes
that
around
comes with
your
it, but-
food
yeah.
opposed to the standard restaurants. So Omar, as we get ready to wrap up, because I can tell Patty's getting
Well,
hungry.
I'm starving.
And we
Sorry,
came here
my
to
blood
eat
sugar's
too.
dropping, so I'm like,
For the people who've never been to your restaurant before, what would you like to tell them? Why should they visit? Besides for your amazing explanations on how clean your food is, what would you like to tell the audience on why they need to come here and experience your restaurant?
Well, they need to come here to experience my restaurant because Martha Stewart loves my restaurant.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that, but I'm going to say real fast. I did an episode with Martha Stewart. She came here, loved my food, and then flew me out to New York, and we filmed an episode. It's on Roku, on Martha Cooks,
No
and she
kidding.
featured my restaurants.
oh,
Just FYI. Now, I think, this is the future.
yes.
If you are taking this life seriously, you will understand that I am maybe a very rare in North America. And I struggle also because I don't feed the masses. I don't, it's like a niche. Like everyone, it's only people that are conscientious of their food, that are healthy people, they come and eat here. But That's like 5% of the population or less. So we need support to keep on existing and keep on educating. So I think that's the most thing is come support this business, because we really we work so hard, and we don't we make scraps. We work hard for scraps. So this is like I think this is more of a like a gift. And I'm saying this because I know myself and my mother, we put our heart and soul in this business, and we want to support, we want to make healthy food shine. We want to make healthy food taste good.
It does taste good.
And anyway, so that's kind of why this is a place where you actually get to support, because it is crucial for the future generations to come. And if this place goes, I don't know if there's ever going to be a place like this. I really don't, because
Come
no one is
support
gonna
Rawtopia.
put that kind of energy and effort in this kind of in a place like this. Honestly, no one is gonna do it with their right minds, because it's a lot of work. It's a struggle. So please come help a small business and help it thrive, so that we can continue doing good in the world and continue supporting these organic agricultural practices and local businesses and local farmers. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And you put love in everything.
Love, baby.
Love is the key to life. I mean, if you don't have love, you're empty.
Yes.
So, Omar, it's been such a pleasure
Thank you so
visiting
much.
with you.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
So, how do people find you on Facebook?
Well, I'm at Omar's Rawtopia on Facebook and Instagram. So Omar, and then Omar's Rawtopia, OMARS, and then Rawtopia, RAWTOPIA.
Yes.
And you can find me there. My name is Omar Abu Ismail. You can find me on Facebook as well. And you can go to my website, rawtopia.com. And a lot of information will be there. We're going to launch our online store, so we're going to be able to ship crackers worldwide.
I love crackers.
Yeah, so I have like,
Oh, these are my favorites.
so these are like vegetable crackers, and then I have like my grainless granola, which is made of flooded buckwheat, wheat, walnuts, and pumpkin seeds, and dates, and cinnamon, and Celtic sea salt, and love.
And love.
Anyway.
Sour cream kale chips.
So
and the
yeah.
vegetable crackers, which are my favorites.
Yeah, so all this product is raw and dehydrated and delicious and very nourishing. And so yeah, so we'll have all this online, and yeah, and just and then sometimes I'll do retreats and things like that. So just follow me and get on my email list, and let's make this world healthy again.
Yes.
Let's
Right.
make America healthy again.
All right. Maha.
So 3961 South Wasatch Boulevard, and come and have the cheesecake, the coconut cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, the Barbie cheesecake.
We're all going to eat now, so thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Omar.
Much love.
Thank you. Much
Bye.
love from Rawtopia.